Hi there, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs. Do you guys remember that one time I said I was going to make a big video where I talked about Echoes? This is that big video where I'm going to be talking about Echoes. So, Echoes comes out tomorrow. Well, technically it comes out actually later tonight if you're a big fan. Personally for me, since I have an American 3DS, Echoes will be released around 5 o'clock in the morning for me. So what I'm actually going to do after this video is I'm actually going to go to bed and I'm going to sleep and I'm going to wake up when Echoes has come out, and then I'm going to go right ahead and start my recording. And then the plan is that I'm going to have the first episode out as soon as possible after the game's launch. So I have basically been prepping for Echoes all day long. The first thing I did when I woke up this morning was just I cleaned my entire apartment. It is so clean here right now. You could basically eat dinner off my toilet bowl. It's that clean. Basically, that helps me concentrate a lot when I have it nice and tidy around me and when my apartment smells fresh. So I spent like 4 hours just cleaning every bit of my apartment, and it feels great. I hate doing it, but it feels great when you're done. Then I took a trip to the store and I just stocked up on food. So my fridge is just filled up with Pepsi Max and different fast food alternatives. And I just, I just finished talking to Mina. She has been helping me out with the design, made some beautiful looking thumbnails, and pretty much, everything that I need for the Let's Play, overlays, graphics, everything like that. It's gonna look beautiful. I'm pouring my heart and soul into this Let's Play, I'm telling you guys. I am gonna really try to outdo myself on this one, and I hope you guys will really enjoy it. So, my next week will pretty much just be wake up, go to the gym, work out to get energy, go home, eat food, and then just play Echoes, edit Echoes, until I go to sleep. It's gonna be fucking grand. I can't wait. So today on this super edition of MangsCam Talk, we're gonna have 7 things that we're gonna be talking about, and I'm gonna be splitting them up into segments, and they're gonna be listed right there. And the first thing I'm going to be talking about is my Let's Play, the format of my Let's Play, as well as the little mini-series that I plan to do next to it. And I think it's going to be a really cool series, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. Then I'm going to be announcing a contest that I'm going to be holding on my channel. Then, as the third point, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my personal expectations for Echoes, what I am afraid of, what I hope will happen, what I hope not will happen, just generally all my thoughts revolving how I think Echoes will be. Then, as the fourth point, we're going to be talking a little bit about the negativity in the community. There's been a lot of negativity around Echoes. I want to dissect this a little bit, take a look at what exactly it is that makes people so gloomy and doomy, because some people are basically saying, oh, the franchise is dead. They're really taking their sorrows way out of proportions and really complaining a lot. I'm going to be looking a little bit about what it is that has made people so upset. I'm going to be giving my personal opinions on it, and we're going to see, are there really any basis to be this upset about Echoes, or is it just propaganda? We shall see. Then, as my sixth point, we're going to be doing something that some people have been requesting. I'm going to be showing you guys my top 5 Echoes babes. Yes, we're going to be showing the 5 most attractive girls in Echoes, because I know a lot of you guys really want to hear my opinion on that. And then for the 7th point, I'm going to give you my predictions. And what is, like, some of you guys might say, what's the difference between expectations and predictions? Basically, predictions is going to be, I'm going to say what I think will happen once Echoes gets released. I'm going to say what I think the aftermath of Echoes will be. And basically what I think, what kind of impact I think it will have on the community, the discussions that will be sparked as a result of it, and what's going to be happening in the future. And then once Echoes have been out for a couple of months, I'm going to make another video where I come back to this video, and we'll see how much I got right and how much I got wrong. So we'll see how good am I at predicting the future right now. And I think you guys will enjoy that segment very much. So, without further ado, let us go into the first segment, which is talking about my Let's Play and my miniseries. So, as I said earlier in the video, once I'm done making this, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna wake up when Echoes is out, and I'm gonna get the first part of the Let's Play out as soon as I can. So that means that episode will probably be out very early for a lot of you. Now, what I plan to do after that is I'm gonna continue my regular uploading schedule. So part 2 and outwards is gonna come out as every other video on my channel, around sometime during the middle of the day for most of you guys. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know when I upload videos. But what I am going to be doing, in addition to the regular Let's Play, is I'm going to be running a mini-series side by side. And this mini-series will be inspired by my Gaiden abridged format. If you've been watching that series, you probably know how it's going to be. So there's going to be First, my Let's Play will come out on my channel. It's going to be out for a couple of hours, and then during the evening, I'm going to be releasing part 1 of my abridged series, which is going to run side by side. It's going to be a little bit of a recap. I'm going to talk a little bit quickly about what went on in the Let's Play. It's not going to be long, maybe just 2-3 minutes. But as I said, it's going to be a little bit of a mini-series that's going to make it easier for you guys to follow the actual Let's Play. My idea behind this series is that it's going to make it easier for people to catch up if they, for example, maybe they haven't had that much time to watch Let's Plays. They can watch the miniseries to update themselves on what's been going on with the story and with me. It's going to be heavily edited, it's going to have a lot of humor in it, similar to my Gaiden Abridged format. It's a big risk for me, potentially, to make a series like this, because I run the risk of my Let's Play not having as many views, since people can go and watch this miniseries. But my hope, and what I really think it's gonna do, that's at least my hopes and expectations revolving the miniseries, is that it's gonna make it easier for people to catch up, and maybe that will actually make them more incentivized to go and watch the actual Let's Play once they watch the abridged series. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see if it ends up working or not. I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen, but nevertheless, you guys can expect 2 Echoes videos out on my channel daily. The Let's Play first, and then later on during the evening, there's going to be the abridged recap of the Let's Play part that came out earlier that day. So I'm super excited about that. I hope you guys will enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of work for me, but I think it's going to be worth it. So the second thing I'm going to be talking about is the contest that I plan to hold on my channel, and it's going to be a super simple contest to enter. The reward is going to be a $50 gift card from the Nintendo eShop. That's pretty convenient, I thought, because that allows you to buy either Shadows of Valentia if you can't afford it, or it allows you to get all the DLC. I think the season pass is like $50. So how you enter it, it's going to be super simple. Once the first part of my Echoes Let's Play comes out, all you need to do is you need to leave a comment, you need to like the video, and you need to be subscribed to my channel. If you do these 3 things, then there's a chance that your comment will get picked. I'll pick one comment completely at random from anyone who has done these 3 things, and I'll contact that person and I say, hey, you won. Then I'll require that person to give me a response, so I know that it's an actual person, not just a spam account or something like that. And then if they respond to me within 48 hours, I'm going to send them the code for the $50 gift card. Now, the reason why I'm holding this contest, it's really simple. I'm trying really hard to get my Let's Play on the front page of the search engine on YouTube. If you don't know how it works, basically if a video gets a lot of comments, views, and likes, it gets prioritized. So for example, if someone searches for Fire Emblem Echoes Let's Play, and if my video does really great on these 3 things, my video will be displayed on the front page. And analytics show that 95% of all people never go past page 1 when they search. So as you know, when you do a search, you get like 10 or 15 videos displayed on the first page, and then you can like go over to the other pages. But 95% of all people, they never scroll past the first page. So getting your video on that front page is life or death for your channel. I managed to do it with my Fate's Conquest Let's Play, and I got like, I think my video was like number 2 or 3 when they searched for Fire Emblem Fates or Fire Emblem Conquest. My video popped up like as number 1 or 2 or 3, depending on who searched. And the reason why it got featured over like other YouTubers who had like hundreds of thousands of views was because you guys were so vocal. I think that video had like almost 1,000 comments. It was absolutely insane. So views isn't everything that matters, but comments and likes are so important right now. And that's why I'm doing this contest, to incentivize as many people to comment and like. Now, of course, you can leave multiple comments if you like, but keep in mind that they have to be actual comments, because if you just spam A, or just some silly comments, YouTube's spam prevention filter is just going to delete your comment, because YouTube has this automated spam filter. So if you want to like leave multiple comments on the video, you need to make them legit, and you need to leave, not post them with like 5 seconds intervals, because if you do that, it's just gonna register your comment as spam and delete it. So do keep that in mind. So let's talk a little bit about what I will be expecting from Echoes, what I'm looking forward to and what I'm not looking forward to, what I think will be good, what I think will be not so good. And I think we'll start on a positive note by saying that I think we're finally going to be able to get a good story from a Fire Emblem game. Everything that I've seen and heard, I haven't watched too much of the English game, and in case you don't know, the game did get leaked, and some people have gotten access to the English version before its release date. Seems like leaks are just happening everywhere. But from what I've seen and from what people have told me, the story is really good. apparently we'll be getting a really good story, and I think that's definitely something that we should be looking forward to, because that's not something that we've had a lot of in Awakening and Fates. We haven't really had a good story since the Tellius games. And even then, some people would maybe argue that the story wasn't really fantastic in the Tellius games either, and may say that we haven't had a good story since like the Game Boy Advanced era. Which, you know, that may be a little bit up to subjective taste, but I think it's about time we get a story that actually engages us. I think it's very important to note that this is the first fully voice-acted Fire Emblem game in like 15 games. This is insane. We're at Fire Emblem 15, and we've never had a fully voice-acted Fire Emblem game. The voice acting is really good from what little I've heard. I've tried not to spoil myself too much, but it sounds really amazing, and it really, I think, will do a lot to immerse you into the story. Visually, presentation-wise, story-wise, I think Echoes will blow the roof off the house. I think we will really enjoy ourselves. At least that's my general like feelings on the game itself. So like story-wise, how much you will be engaged with the story, I think it will eclipse Fates and Awakening, and I think people will really, you know, be able to see what a good story in a Fire Emblem game feels like. I might be forced to eat those words. Maybe in a month we'll look back at Echoes and we'll realize, fuck, this game was terrible in terms of story. But from what I understand, the story is going to be really good. And also, what a lot of people have said is that the villains in Echoes are apparently really good. We finally get some grey villains, and that's something that the game has been sorely lacking ever since, I mean, when did we last have a grey villain? I mean, I guess some people could say that the Tellius games had some grey characters, but personally, I think we haven't really seen a true grey villain in the series since Alvis in Fire Emblem 4. I know that's a bit of a controversial statement to make, but honestly, I think the last time we really had a great villain was Fire Emblem 4 with Alvis. Although I have expressed a lot of like for villains such as Nurgle and stuff like that, I would say that, you know, it's about time we get a good villain that really stands out. And from what I understand, the new guy, I'm not going to say too much because, you know, I don't want to spoil, even though I'm not sitting on any knowledge to spoil, I don't want to go too deep into the story, but one of the new villains that they've added in the remake apparently is a fantastic character, so we can definitely be looking forward to that, and I certainly am looking forward to that a lot. So I talked a little bit about how the game looks and feels amazing, but I think it's important to specify just how amazing it looks compared to some of the previous games. I mean, not to mention the character redesigns, which are all fucking fantastic. I haven't seen one character that I don't like, and we'll be taking a look at some beautiful ladies later when I go over my top 5 babes list, but I think it's really important to specify exactly what makes the game look so good, and I think a big part of that are the combat animations. The combat animations look absolutely fantastic, and they've addressed a piece of criticism that I really had for the two previous games, Fates and Awakening. Actually, it's not my criticism, I borrowed it from Mina. Mina said something that was so amazing, I've been repeating it a lot ever since. She said, nothing in Awakening and Fates looks like it has weight. Such a brilliant criticism. She kind of put my thoughts into words with that sentence right there. And once you start to think about that, you'll never look at the animations in Fates and Awakening the same way again, and you're probably not gonna like them, because nothing in that game has any mass, any weight, any substance whatsoever. The characters jump around like they're made out of cardboard. The generals and armor knights, they run in armor? It looks so stupid. The horses, take a look at the paladin animations. The horses, they jump around like they weigh nothing, like they're just toy horses. Nothing looks like it has any weight whatsoever. Very few of the weapons look like they have any like smash when they actually hit. It's just, everything looks like it's weighing nothing, like everything's hollowed out. Take a look at the Stoneborn, for example. Oh, so terrible how bad they look. And this is something that I really felt was lacking with the Awakening and Fates animations. Yeah, sure, they flowed by nicely and they went by quick and fast, you could skip them and all that good jazz, but really once you start to notice that there's no weight behind any of the characters, it really just starts to bother you a lot. I personally hype up the animations of the Game Boy Advanced era. I think the Game Boy Advanced era had the best animations we've ever seen in any of the Fire Emblem games. The way the general moves around gives you the impression that really they're weighing a ton. Like the way the screen shakes when they attack and walk forwards. It's absolutely amazing. And I will say that in Echoes, the battle animations looks absolutely stellar. Like the way the characters or the camera zooms in on the character as they run forward, drawing their weapon while they're running, and then like BAM! Looks so good. When the archers fire arrows, the camera actually follows the arrow as it flies through the air. It's so addictive and so much fun to look at. So even though I think that Echoes and particularly Gaiden, both of those games are a little bit slow, and therefore Echoes is a little bit slow as well. I think the animations will just make it extremely entertaining to play. Now, for all the game's fantastic presentation on visuals and feels and how it's gonna look and sound and all that jazz, I do think that people are gonna have a poor reception to its actual combat. Now, Gaiden just isn't a very good game. Yes, it has its amazingness. Yes, there's a ton of things that I love about Gaiden, but the core gameplay elements of Gaiden, the slowness, the low experience gains, the low growth rates, the weird map design, the relatively low pool of characters that you can play, combined with the fact that, you know, there are no marriage and children, there's, you know, no multiple paths to take, things that people may be used to in Fates and Awakening. Not criticism I have, but criticism that I think a lot of other casual gamers might have. I do believe that Echoes will be more poorly received because of these things, and I think people will definitely look at it and go like, yeah, Fates and Awakening did that shit better. I don't think I don't think Echoes will be able to nullify those things just with an amazing story. But I did a talk with Gasts. I'm not sure if it's out on his channel yet or not, but basically what I said, and he agreed, was that I think that Echoes will have sort of like a slow warming up process to people. I think that initially it won't be as well received by a lot of the fan base, but I think that if it managed to capture our hearts, I think that it will gradually spread and start to impress more and more people. But I do believe that initially, I think newer players of the series might shun it for its weirdness, for lack of better words. Like, you know, it's a remake of Gaiden after all. Gaiden is a very weird game with a lot of weird mechanics that people may look at and go, eh. And I do believe the lack of the weapon triangle in particular will turn off a lot of people, because it's such an essential, integral part to Fire Emblem. The weapon triangle, everything is based around that weapon triangle almost. It's such a core aspect of the gameplay. The fact that it's missing, I think, will hurt the game, but I think that people might be able to look past it, as I said, if it manages to capture our hearts, which I think it will, but I think it's going to be a slow process. Funnily enough, the original Gaiden game, when it came out, it sold really poorly, and then as time went by, the sales started to spike up. I think we could potentially see a recurring trend of that with Echoes. But yeah, I definitely think that it's gonna get a lot of criticism, because as Mark Joe said in his Echoes video, and he made a really good video about Echoes, it's staying too faithful to Gaiden, way more faithful than perhaps it should have. I think maybe it should have incorporated elements of Gaiden, but kept other elements, such as the weapon triangle, such as maybe normal equipment, such as maybe okay, not children. I'm not gonna say Gaiden should have children, because, let's face it, that would just make no sense with the story at all. I do like that they're not including an avatar, because I definitely think that the inclusion of an avatar takes a lot away from the main characters, and I'm very grateful for that, and that is definitely a big bonus point I'm gonna give to Echoes for not including that goddamn avatar. We've had it 3 times already, we don't need it anymore. You don't need to self-insert yourself into every single game. But yeah, it's because of these things that I mentioned earlier, you know, lack of weapon triangle and all that, too faithful to Gaiden. As I said, I think a lot of people will be turned off initially. But who knows, the game does well enough, they might come around eventually. Now, let's talk a little bit about all the negativity that's been floating around in the community as of late. I did make a video a while back where I talked about the low sales in Japan 1 week after the game's launch. I feel like this video may have triggered a lot of negativity, particularly among my fans, and that certainly wasn't the purpose behind that video. I merely made the video because I thought it was an interesting thing to point out. I didn't make it because I wanted you guys to feel horrible and dread the launch of Echoes. But there seems to be 2 things that makes people really negative. In fact, I should probably say 3. The first one is, of course, as I mentioned, the low sales. As of this moment, I spoke with my contact over on Serenus Forests, the guy who nerds a lot of sales charts, and I asked him, how is Echoes doing? And he said it's still doing poorly. He couldn't give me any specific numbers, but there was definitely no reports of Echoes suddenly like spiking up in its like 2nd or 3rd week. It started out slow and it's been remaining consistently slow throughout the month, so I think we're looking at like Shadow Dragon-ish sales numbers. It hasn't blown up in Japan the same way that Fates and Awakening did. Now granted, it was still the best-selling game of the week, so it's doing good, judged compared to other games that got released at the same time, but compared to Awakening and Fates, it did not do as good. About a third of the sales. That seems to be the numbers we're hovering around. So that is one of the reasons why people are being very negative. They're preaching gloom and doom, the end of the franchise, all that jazz. But the second one is that IGN gave it a very low score. In fact, most of the reviewers have been giving Echoes around a 7. I think like between a 7 and a 7.6. Now, some people may look at that and they go, huh, but 7 out of 10, that's a good score. Not really, because these game developers, there's this joke that there is no rating under 7. Like, they very rarely go under 7. Like, most of the games do fall between a 7 and a 10. And then, of course, if a game gets a 7, doesn't mean it's a bad game, it just means that it's very low on the average scale, because people go like, yeah, if it's not over a 9, it's generally considered a bad game. Like, everything under 8 is generally considered negative. That's just how the rating system works. And they did have a lot of bad things to say about it. I've been reading through a couple of reviews together with Gast, and they did say a lot of things that, to me, didn't make a lot of sense, but also made a lot of sense. The things that I did not agree with was they said that Echoes have very poor replayability. They say that you have to grind a lot. This, to me, sounds like the review of someone who's very poorly experienced with Fire Emblem. I also heard when I started Gaiden that, oh, you had to grind. No, you don't have to grind at all. I played easy mode to avoid the grinding. You can easily play Gaiden on normal mode and never have to grind a single time, and you'll be completely fine. That statement that you have to grind in Gaiden if you don't play on easy mode is complete bogus. So, some of the criticism that they gave it, I read through it and I was like, now these are the words of a very inexperienced Fire Emblem player who has not played a lot of Fire Emblem, because what they are saying here just is not true. Now, I would also like to mention that these guys are the same people who called Fates an emotional and engaging journey, which is true if you consider rage and disappointment an engaging emotion, you know, like, it's just not true. I don't take IGN seriously in almost anything anymore, especially after watching their fucking Awakening and Fates tutorial. Ugh! Like, IGN are pretty fucking bad at Fire Emblem, let's just put it that way. They have amazing production value, they got a lot of money, they got a lot of sponsors apparently, but they do not have people that are very good at Fire Emblem. Have Frederick pick off the enemies and have Frederick come in and kill them. That was like a legit quote from one of them. Absolutely horrendous. Like, Jesus Christ, just give me and Gast a call. We can do a lot better of a tutorial for you guys. But yeah, as I said, there is also a third reason why people are really negative, and that is because it's a remake of Gaiden. Like Marky Joe, Mecha, a lot of these people, many would perhaps call them the Fire Emblem elitists, but some of the more prevalent figures in the community, aside from Gast and myself, have expressed a lot of discontents. Not Gast, mind you, but a lot of people have expressed a lot of discontent over the fact that they are remaking Gaiden, which a lot of people feel is the worst game in the series. Marky Joe says it's one of the worst games in the series, and Mecha says it's a horrible game. A lot of other people on Serenus Forest have also said, why are they remaking the worst Fire Emblem game? Yes, Gaiden has some charming features, but on average, it is considered one of the worst Fire Emblem games in the series. And I do absolutely see the point in that. But I personally think that people need to chill the fuck out. First of all, North America has consistently been outselling Japan for most games, ever since the Game Boy Advance games. North America likes Fire Emblem a lot more than the Japanese. So just because a game sells poorly in Japan does not mean it's going to sell poorly in North America. Now, Europe is pretty much behind both of them, but North America are really big on Fire Emblem. They sell really well there. I do believe every single game since Fire Emblem 7 has seen a North America outselling Japan. I might be wrong on that, but I'm except obviously aside from the Japanese only games, but I do believe this is the case. North America tends to sell better than Japan, so we might see Echoes blow up in the West for all we know. It's way too early to be preaching gloom and doom already. So to all of you guys being super negative, I've seen so many comments like, oh, my Echoes hype is died down, I'm no longer looking forward to this game is awful, it's gonna be a flop. Jesus Christ, chill out. Give it some time, will you? And so what if it doesn't sell that well? I mean, it's still a Fire Emblem game, we're still gonna have a lot of fun with it. It doesn't need to be a booming success every single time. It's not gonna, if one bad game is not gonna kill the Fire Emblem franchise. The next game sells poorly and the next game sells poorly, I'm gonna start to have a problem. I don't think the fact that this game sells a little bit more poorly than Awakening and Phase doesn't mean we're not gonna get Fire Emblem 16. I think we're definitely gonna get Fire Emblem 16 at this point. I understand why you're negative, I really do. These are not great things to see, but you know, I think we should hold off on our preaching of the gloom and doom until, you know, let's give it a couple of months at least. So next up, we're going to be talking a little bit about DLC, and boy, there is a ridiculous amount of DLC. Some of it is going to be free, some of it is going to cost money, but added up together, the entire DLC package is worth more than the game at launch. At least, I mean, maybe it differs from country to country, but at least I do believe the North American version, if you want to buy everything that's available in DLC, you'll actually be paying more money than the game itself costs. I have some really big fundamental issues with this. I don't mind DLC, I think DLC is fantastic. You want to get together and create more content, which we can choose to pay for or not, fantastic. But this is DLC that is available at launch. That is something else entirely, because that means that while they were developing Shadows of Valentia, there was a small group of people working on some content that they decided to cut away from the main game and then offer up as DLC. I think that everything that they produce prior to the game's launch should be part of the game. If you feel like it's worth more, then charge more for it. But to release a game worth 40 bucks and then release DLC for 45 bucks, I don't know sure if those are the exact numbers, but there's something along those lines. I think that is morally questionable, to say the least. And I'm not going to fault intelligent systems for this. This might be shareholders, corporations, you know, generally people who are interested in making money. Not that there's anything wrong with making money, that's basically what game developers live for. Everything is based on money, guys. That's just how the world works. We live in a capitalist world where money rules, and that's how we get good games. But I do believe that this is milking the subscriber base, and I don't like it very much. Now, we can complain all we want about DLC, we can be angry, we can go to the forums, we can yell and we can scream and we can say that this is morally questionable and they shouldn't do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you yell, or it doesn't matter how many arguments or debates you get into on Facebook. If you don't like all this constant DLC spam, you know what you do. You close your wallet. This thing is the only thing that has any say in whether or not they continue with this relentless DLC spam. As long as people continue to buy the DLC, they are gonna release the DLC. That is the sad reality of the world we live in. Sounds like I'm talking about a national crisis right now. I didn't mean to get this serious, but this is the power you have. If you don't like all the DLC, don't buy the DLC. But truth is, people are gonna buy the DLC. People like DLC, you know, and I understand that. I'm gonna buy the DLC because I have a fucking YouTube channel revolving around this stuff, and I probably am gonna generate a lot more money from ad revenue releasing those videos than I am paying for, you know, the DLC. But regardless, if you're a diehard fan of the franchise, you want as much content as you possibly can. But I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the DLC is worth more than the game itself. That is definitely something we need to, I think, you know, as I said, close our wallets. Tell Nintendo that, you know, this is actually not cool. Put more of the stuff on launch into the main game, please, and, you know, you can then come together after the game is launched, and you can set your developers to work making more content, which you can then release as DLC. And you can charge as much as you want for that, but please, at launch, really? I mean, I know some of it's gonna be free, but still, I think this is ridiculous, and I think we really seriously need to take a step towards this, because it's getting pretty fucking stupid at this point. So it's time to talk a little bit about some babes. I know a lot of you guys have been wanting me to do like a top 5 Fire Emblem babes in Echoes, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this video. But before I begin, I know a lot of you guys are just going to say, oh, Matilda number 2, Claire number 1. We all know that's going to be the case. Yes, that would be the case, which is why I'm going to disqualify them both and not include them in my list. Because, you know, knowing my history with gorgeous busty blondes, it's quite obvious that the two of them would be highest up on the list anyway, and they definitely would be. So, but for this list, I'm not going to be including either of those two ladies. So coming in at number 5 on my top 5 Fire Emblem Echoes Babes list is going to be Mila. I think Mila looks really great. She's not a playable character. She's very essential to the plot and all that. We're not going to go too much into that, but she definitely has like a low-key Tiki vibe going on, and I think that's who she's inspired by. She's definitely not, you know, as sluttily dressed as Tiki. She doesn't have the, you know, the corset with the cleavage and all that, but we can definitely see that Mila is rocking some serious boobage underneath that robe, and she definitely follows the trend of the Mannequin ladies being incredibly stacked, and she looks gorgeous. I really like it. I'm not too big of a fan of the tail or anything like that, but I still think her character design is really gorgeous. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Silk, the cleric with the booty. Gast has expressed his love for Silk on numerous occasions. I still don't know if Silk has a booty because of her dress. Maybe she's wearing like a ballroom dress, or because she, you know, she actually has a booty. But I definitely think Silk looks amazing. She shows very little skin, but she still manages to look incredibly sultry and sexy. I love her pose. She looks really sassy. Amazing design for a cleric lady. Absolutely fantastic. Coming in at number 3, I don't think a lot of you guys will be very surprised by this, is of course May. I love her bubbly attitude. Her pigtails look really good. They're not my favorite type of pigtails, but they're pigtails nevertheless. I'm not a big fan of the round pigtails. I prefer like the schoolgirl kind. But I definitely think she looks very bubbly and cute. She has a fantastic expression, really nice attitude. Her outfit isn't too revealing, but she shows off a little bit of legs, and, you know, she just looks really cute in general. I think she's super attractive. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Sonia. I don't think a lot of you guys will be surprised by this. She has the boobies. She has a really nice attire. She looks a little evil. She has a little bit of a dark streak. She reminds me a lot of Sonia from Fire Emblem 7. She's like a mixture of Sonia and Tarja without, you know, the stupidness of either of those characters. I don't know much about her personality, but I definitely like her attire, and I think she looks amazing. Her hair is... And then coming in at number 1 is actually going to be Celica. I fell completely in love with Celica's design the moment I laid eyes on her when Echoes got announced. I am a big fan of bare shoulders. I could say that Katria was very close to making it on this list. She got knocked out by Mila, but I would have placed her on top 5 or on number 5 simply for the fact that she has bare shoulders. Celica combines bare shoulders with red hair and amazing attire. She shows off a little bit of legs. She looks absolutely fucking beautiful. She's very petite and very, like, you know, very modest, but at the same time she just looks absolutely gorgeous. Easily one of the most beautiful female Fire Emblem characters we have seen in a very long while, and she would probably be number 3 behind Matilda and Claire if they were on the list. So there you have it, my top 5 Fire Emblem babes in Echoes. So it's time to close off this video. So now I'm going to make a bunch of predictions that I've written down, and the idea is that I'm going to come back to this video in a couple of months after we've had some time to let the game sink in, after I've completed the game, maybe once, maybe twice, and I'm going to make another video where I follow up on these predictions and we'll see how much of it I can get right. So these are the things that I predict about Fire Emblem Echoes. Now some of it I have mentioned before, but this is like a much more condensed version of it. So 1, I think that it's gonna start slow and build its way up. I don't think we're gonna be experiencing a big hype, not even in North America at its launch, but I think that eventually it's gonna start selling better and better. It's going to sell a lot in North America, a lot more than it's sold in Japan. I predict that it's gonna come close to a little bit over 1/3, but close to half of what it sold, of what Fate sold in North America. I think Europe will be pretty low. I think Japan will continue to be very low, but I think North America will dominate the sales, and it's going to come close to half of what it sold in regards to Fates. But I don't think we'll be experiencing a big boom or anywhere near the sales of Awakening and Fates, and I think it's going to stay that way because Gaiden. Now, I'm going to predict that people are going to love the story. I think the story will be very well received, and it's going to be something that people will talk very warmly about. It's going to be, yeah, Echoes had a great story, you know, the gameplay may not have been fantastic, but the story was fantastic. But as a result of this, there's going to be sparking a lot of this discussion and debate in the Fire Emblem community about fan service versus story. What is more important? What sells better? There's going to be a lot of people saying that Fire Emblem needs waifus and marriage and children, and we can't have a game without that. And there's going to be another group saying, you know, no, we don't need fan service. And then the other group's going to say, oh, well, it didn't sell as well, so obviously we do. There's going to be a lot of clashing and a lot of arguing in the community about that. But at the end of the day, I think that Echoes will do a good job of bringing the veterans who got turned off the game due to Awakening and Fates back into the fold. We're going to see the return of a lot of veterans coming back, and I think what this game might do is that it might bridge the gap between the casuals and the veterans in a way that Awakening of Fates didn't do. Awakening of Fates kind of like pushed the veterans away and brought the casuals in, and the casuals, you know, felt that the veterans were elitist and bitter, whereas the veterans felt that the casuals were idiots and crybabies and called them Awakening and Fates babies. I think Echoes is going to do a good job of bringing everyone together. But as I said, there's going to be some divide on the whole fan service versus story issue. Like, what is, at the end of the day, more important? So those are my predictions. We'll see how many of them end up coming true or not. Many of them may not be so easy to judge, but I do hang out in the Fire Emblem community a lot, and I do pay attention to what's going on a daily basis, not just inside my own community, but inside other communities as well. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably make that video in maybe 2, maybe 3 months, depending on how long I feel I need to judge the situation correctly. And it's gonna be fun to see if many of these things that I predict comes true. I was thinking about predicting like next Fire Emblem game or next remake, but that's so long in the future. I don't think we'll be hearing anything of a new Fire Emblem game for quite some time. We might hear about that fighting game for the Switch. There's going to be like a Fire Emblem fighting game where you like play as Ike and you kill hordes of enemies, but that to me is not really an official Fire Emblem game. That's more like a spin-off series, just like, you know, that Tokyo Mirage Sessions thingy. So yeah, those are my predictions, and we'll see if they're true or not. So yeah, that is pretty much all I have to say regarding this topic, or these topics, I should rather say. I hope you guys enjoyed the Super MangsCam talks. There will be a video of me and Gas talking on his channel. It could be out now by the time this video comes out. If it is, I'm going to be linking to it at the end. If not, it should be coming out relatively soon. We talked about 1 hour 15 minutes. It's much more unedited and much more unrefined, but we did talk a lot about these issues as well, and I think you guys should check that out. We had a lot of fun. Me and Gas always have a lot of fun when we get together to talk about Fire Emblem. So yeah, I will be going to bed now, ladies and gentlemen, and when I wake up, Echoes will be out. So I hope you guys will be super hyped for the Let's Play. I hope you'll take some time away from the game to watch it. That would mean a lot to me, guys. You know, make sure you like the first part and stay subscribed to my channel, and give a comment to be part of the $50 gift card contests. You know, maybe if you're poor and you can't afford the DLC or the game itself, that's gonna be a nice chance for you to actually get the game. So definitely stay tuned for that. And I can't wait to show you guys all the amazing stuff that I've cooked together for the new Let's Play, including the new miniseries. I'm so stoked for this, guys. The next couple of weeks are gonna be super exciting. Whether you're not hyped, whether you're hyped, we're getting a new Fire Emblem game, and they're remaking fucking Gaiden. What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. This is exciting stuff, regardless of what you may think about Gaiden or not. It's a new Fire Emblem game. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to play it. I can't fucking wait to play it, and I can't wait to play it together with all of you. I'm tired as fuck. I'm gonna go sleep for like 15 hours and recharge my batteries for Echoes. We'll see you very soon, guys. Goodbye.